Welcome to Bro Science Autopsy, Humanity Upgraded, the podcast where we cut through the hype and the BS, dissect the myths, and separate scientific fact from internet fiction. Every week, we take the biggest claims in fitness, nutrition, supplements, hormones, peptides, longevity, and human performance, and put them on the table for a scientific autopsy. No bro science, no influencer hype, and no hidden agenda. If it's backed by solid evidence, we'll tell you. If it's marketing dressed up as science, we'll expose it. And if the answer is somewhere in the middle, we will explain why. So whether you're a bodybuilder, athlete, healthcare professional, or someone who simply wants to optimize your health without falling for the latest trends, you're in the right place. This is Bro Science Autopsy, where evidence beats opinion, truth beats trends, and every episode is one step towards humanity upgraded. Everybody, welcome to the autopsy. I'm Dr. Josh.
I'm Mike Hammer.
So today we're going to be talking about peptides. There's a lot of hype. We're going to dig through, dissect it, figure out where the truth lies, and what you need to consider before taking them. So really, first and foremost, what is a peptide?
50 amino acid chain, a chain of 50 amino acids or less is considered a peptide. And there are some exceptions to that, with insulin being one of them. Growth hormone, that's 191. And I'm sure there's thousands more that we've never heard of or maybe nobody even knows about yet.
Yeah, anything under 50, I guess, is the line that they've drawn in the sand now. But like you said, HGH is quite a bit higher than that. We'll talk about that when we go through what are the most popular peptides people are taking and really what's the driving mechanism behind them wanting to do it. But yeah, peptide is essentially that. There's this, why they're so popular right now is the big question. And they're taking off rapidly. Like, it's the last few years, everybody on social media, everybody is talking about peptides, and I know countless people buying them.
Oh, yes. I know hundreds, probably. And I think it all stems from our medical system being broken first and foremost. Western medicine is not forward looking. It's sick care, it's not health care. They don't make money until you're sick or selling you medications. And I think peptides is a small window of hope, whether there's truth to it or not, that you can maybe anti-age or head off some of these problems at the pass.
Isn't that what everyone's always trying to do?
Well,
This is just the new version of that.
yeah, maybe. The problem is there's hardly any human studies on a lot of this stuff, and it's all extrapolated off of mice and rat studies.
That's a good point. Nearly 100% of the data is directly from mice and rats. They're sure some of them are in clinical studies, but there is no scientific literature anywhere, check Google Scholar, that shows any human trials with any of these peptides, with the exception of a few: insulin, human growth hormone, and some, but not all, of the GLPs.
Well, they yes, two of the GLP. Well, actually, there's a lot of GLPs actually. Liraglutide. I can't remember them all off the list, but there's precursors to those Ozempics and Mounjaros that we're all hearing about now, and they're a lot shorter acting, and that's why the weekly injections are more popular because people just don't like sticking themselves, or they get addicted to sticking themselves maybe, and that's why peptides may be so popular as well.
It's true, but that's not unlike any drug, illegal
Right?
or legal. It has an addictive factor. And I think, in my opinion, going back to your point, is it's another option for longevity. And there's a billion products on the market: skin creams, hair stuff that aren't things that aren't even peptides. People are
Go look
always
at South Korea. They're like the leaders of the pack for anti-aging, I think.
they are they're a lot healthier than Americans too.
That's true. Well, that goes leads into diet. I mean, that's part of our downfall as well. Portion
Yeah,
sizes, diet.
portion size. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a big part of it, and you know when we
So,
can.
fun fact. Well, we're going to get off topic a little bit, but this is what we do. In '84, or whatever it was, when they took sugar out of soda and put high fructose corn syrup in, that's about the time that McDonald's supersized their menus. And you can fact check all this. My dates might be wrong, but it's around here. And when they supersized the menu, they got a bigger drink. Well, high fructose corn syrup didn't satiate you. So people were throwing the food away. And McDonald's went to the scientists and said, hey, can you engineer this so actually I think that's when they took the sugar out of the soda. So the soda doesn't make these people full when they throw our food away. So then people were drinking the soda, not getting satiated by the sugar in the soda, and they would eat all the food. Now your caloric consumption just doubled or tripled in one shot.
You're talking
They,
about natural sugar.
natural sugar, and the reason that everything used to be bottled, or if you go to other countries, Mexico, prime example, everything's in bottles because sugar eats into aluminum, and you got to coat the aluminum cans.
Glass bottles.
Yeah, everything's in glass,
Yeah, that's
recyclable
true.
glass bottles,
It's
which
true.
I think is much healthier too. You're not
Well,
drinking out of plastic coatings and all this kind of stuff.
yeah, plastic coatings and broken down metals. There's plenty of science showing high concentrations of aluminum in your body being a pretty bad thing. So, but yeah, I think that's a huge issue. It is a broken food system, and you're right with that transition. I don't know when it was. People can look it up. I don't know, in the 80s at some point.
Yep.
But it's been a rapid fire explosion of processed foods since that date and time. I mean, we're so far behind the sort of counterpunch to what's happened in the United States compared to Europe, compared to several countries in Asia who are banned since a lot of these harmful ingredients. And I know we're off topic here, but it's there's a huge lag time with any of that productivity on United States soil.
But look at obesity, diabetes, and all these other more comorbidities that are running rampant now. That all coincides with this curve. Nobody talks
It
about
does.
it.
It's I don't have the metrics right in front of me, but it's a I would assume it's a fairly linear progression both ways between rates of obesity and processed foods and even just simply high fructose corn syrup or alternative sweet or non natural sugars in the
Cancer rates probably too. You know.
yeah, cancer rates. Yeah, you said diabetes, obesity, and then even more alarming, childhood obesity too. It's at an alarming rate everywhere in this country right now. So circling back, there's people looking for the quick fix, and what's put them on the map are the GLPs. Has brought them back front and center because again, we're looking for what the quick fix to our problems.
Well, and the pharmaceutical companies are looking for the quick fix to their bank statement.
Oh, they are
I
rolling.
mean, Dr. Kavanaugh in the 70s did the majority of the studies on all of these peptides that we're going to talk about. He was a Russian doctor, and I think he just passed away this year or last year. And he was the go-to guru on a lot of this stuff.
Was he one of the ones that started working on the research side?
Yes, yes.
Okay. He passed away.
I'm pretty sure he did, yes.
Okay. And that's the real shortcoming in this entire craze that we're talking about is lack of research. There, I know there are some peptides that are going through clinic, they're being tested by the FDA right now, which we'll talk about. One in particular for kind of assisting with digestive issues and gut related health for people with colitis or certain diseases that are related to gut issues. But circling back to why they're so popular. I'm convinced it's people looking for a quick fix.
Hmm? His name was Vladimir Kavinson.
Okay. Valimir
So
Kavinson.
January 6, 2024, he passed away.
Okay. Did he die young? No, I was curious.
46 to 24, so no, not too young.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good.
77 he was.
Yeah, it's a good run.
I guess it didn't help him, huh?
it didn't. It didn't. It didn't help him.
Peptides didn't help him. Oh,
Yeah,
damn it.
peptides didn't push him to 100. It's always the guy smoking cigarettes and having a life of drinking that's the one guy that lives the longest and is happiest. I don't know. He's probably single too, but
Probably by choice.
he's probably single by choice. Yeah, probably real happy. But yeah, I think the quick fix is a huge problem, and when people are looking for a quick fix, it becomes, like you pointed out, it brings in this addictive component. And I think that's when people are so willing to ignore research. And I'd be willing to bet that some of these people that were throwing their arms up in the air with the COVID vaccines and having a meltdown about it because there was a lack of research, I'd be willing to bet that a lot of them are taking a GLP or a peptide and not raising the same stink about it. I correct me if I'm wrong on that. Anyone listening can research that, but there's a significant lack of research with peptides. Almost no human trials on many of the ones that we'll touch on. Is that a reason not to use them? That's for you to decide, but I think there's a lot of unsettled science, and that can always lead to unexpected side effects. That's just the way it works. There's side effects with everything. It's not like any of these are going to have no side effects. They will have a side effect. We just don't know what they are yet for a lot of these.
Well, yeah, and I think his name is Brian Johnson. Is that the billionaire that's trying all this life extension stuff? He, I think he was just diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder from some of these experimental treatments he's been trying. So that's not good. And I've seen some of that stuff with Chinese peptides, people being hospitalized and stuff like that because of impurities or what do they call it? It's like a fungus that can grow in there if they're not sterilized properly.
Well, yeah, because they come in vials. You break them down with bacteriostatic water, just like growth hormone or a lot of the GLPs. But yeah, if they're not sterilized and sealed, you can't clean the inside of the bottle.
Mm-mm.
It's already sealed. And there's a lot less filtering. That's where people are getting from. They're getting from there. They're also getting a lot of them from Korea, even though you said that they're ahead of the curve in health. And I'm not going to disagree with you there, but I know, unrelated to peptides, I know firsthand a bunch of people buying Botox from way, way across the pond too, because it's super cheap. Another thing that I'm not going to put that in my face. It's like,
No.
that's a pretty strong chemical compound, and I've never done Botox, but saving X amount of dollars to get it a little cheaper just sounds extraordinarily risky to me.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. Supposedly, there's only a few forms of lyophilized Botox available. The rest should be refrigerated at all times. And if it's not, it's no good.
Yeah,
That's
I don't. This isn't a podcast for people to ask us questions about. I don't know shit about. I don't know shit about them. I just know you inject them into your face, and it's supposed to do a thing. I'm just letting nature do its course on my own face. I don't care.
is what it is. Yeah.
It's just gonna happen. But yeah, going back to the popularity, it's skyrocketed right now, and like you said, hundreds of people. I can't count how many people I know using peptides. They're telling their friends. It's on TikTok. They're watching these video shorts of these 20-year-olds in the gym saying how they're taking it for skincare, how they're taking it for as a substitute. They're not taking HGH because most of 20-year-olds can't afford it, but they're taking these other substitutes to sort of mimic what HGH can do, because it's cheaper. But you know what? It's the science behind it is so. What I can't read that. What is it?
This is a book. It's called Bolus, and it is um I don't even know how many pages. 140 pages on growth hormone.
Yeah,
So this is not a small subject. This is all clinical research too.
yeah. Well, that was gonna say that's the one of the few we're gonna talk about that actually has literature. It's gone through the peer review process. It's gone through scientific testing. They know the side effects. They know the risks. They know the dosages. They know the dosages by age, BMI. They know all the math and analytics to make it as safe as possible. But most of these peptides, and I don't know, I should have looked up before we started how many there actually are, but it's an endless list, which is fair to say, in counting.
There's over 10,000 known. There's probably several hundred that are available, readily available, and they all promise, this, that, and the other thing. From all the stuff that I've seen, tried, talked to people, I don't notice a whole lot of anything from any of them.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I've tried a lot of things as a bodybuilder, but the few peptides I've tried either were shit or I noticed nothing.
So I knew this conversation was going to happen, so I was putting together a small list in my head of things that I know work. And that would be insulin, which I've never tried, growth hormone, uh, melanotan 1 and 2, um, PT 141. Um, that that's what GHRP 6 made me super hungry. Um, so that did something on the
What about,
ghrelin circuit. Problem.
what about IGF-1?
Nothing that I
Because that's the one I
that
was
I've heard of.
kind of hinting at as a mimic to growth hormone, as a cheap substitute.
Well, growth hormone promotes IGF-1 conversion in the liver, and that's why it works. But there's numerous pathways of growth hormone that we don't know what it does. And there's actually like 6 variants of growth hormone. So in our body, the 191 is the most commonly known, but there are other kilodalton weighted growth hormones, and we don't know what they do either. We kind of know what they do to an
We,
extent, but not 100%.
we know some of the things. Yeah, yeah. That list you gave, some of those are ones that I wanted to bring up here in a little bit, um, because I want to backpedal a little bit. I'm not, or we're not suggesting peptides don't work. Let's put that out there right now.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
they
If
are
they
like
work for you, great.
yeah, they're likely doing something if they're real and of quality, which is another thing we're about to get into. But there's a lot of lack of truth. There's a lot of issues with sourcing the materials and where they're coming from, if they're real. Just because of going back to our last point, is the testing's only been done on rodents, and where it's being tested on rodents, I don't know. I'm not sure,
How
but
many rodents? Um, how old were they?
yeah, what's your sample size? Like the
What
basic,
were they eating?
the basics of science. Like, you don't have to have a PhD to understand that process. It's 10 steps, the scientific method, rinse and repeat. This video we're going on, your stupid cell phone, like it all goes through that same process. And a lot of these peptides just have not, because that information which you put in your methodology of these materials when you publish the data behind them to get them FDA approved, isn't there. We just don't have it.
Yeah,
Which
it's nobody's fault. Um, it's just not there.
no, I'm not. Yeah, it's just it. Yeah, it's just this huge surge before the
The
science.
the fact is just there's no human research on most of these compounds.
And
Now, tesamorelin, that's one. That's an actual drug. SS31, that's an actual drug. But the clinical doses on that are 40 milligrams a day. Who can afford that? That's hundreds of dollars a day. Same with tesamorelin too. The if you bought that from a pharmacy. Other than that, none of these other ones are really FDA approved, I should say, other than growth hormone and insulin.
yeah, let's talk a little bit more about. I want to talk a little bit more growth hormone, then insulin, then get into the mothership, which I think has fired this craze up, which are the GLPs. Um, Growth hormone has a lot of the science. I mentioned that before. There's a lot of literature out there. Like you said, we don't know what some of them do. But speaking from experience, growth hormone works really, really well. it's it's and there's not a spike in growth hormone popularity that equals the peptide popularity. It is increasing in popularity, but it does not compare to the popularity of peptides. And my guess is price, but I'm not sure. What are your thoughts?
Um, it's probably some. So up until about a month or two ago, 60 days ago, growth hormone was listed on almost every Chinese manufacturer's site, and the Chinese government cracked down on it, and they're no longer allowing growth hormone shipments, and that's going to cause a pinch in the supply chain here pretty shortly. So this will be interesting how this all turns out because where there's demand, there will be supply. So is India going to take up the slack, or I don't know, the
Russia.
Philippines or wherever? I don't know. I don't know who will do it. But somebody will for sure. Or China will just start backdooring it again. Like just cool it for 6 months and then because and it all stems from the flour company pumping a bunch of money into China and telling them to knock off the GLP-1 knockoffs because they're losing a bunch of money. If you don't know what a flour company is, you'll figure it out.
Well, the bodybuilding industry is going to be crying if that's what's going to be happening.
Oh, it's happening right. It's happening right now. I think a big scare factor for growth hormone is everybody. Um, it's the rumors circulate, right? Well, you're gonna get bigger hands, bigger feet, and the Cro-Magnon, and your head's gonna grow,
Your head's going to grow. I've heard that one. Yeah.
and your ears and your nose and your cartilage. And a lot of that is true to an extent. If you take it for a long time at considerable doses, but then it's gonna make you diabetic because it's gonna create insulin resistance. Well, the fundamental thing that we were talking about before any of this happened is you got to get the basics down before you can try any of this stuff. Sleep, diet, training. And then, because you can take all the GLP ones you want, but if you're going to sit in a recliner all day, you're going to lose X amount of weight, and then that's it. You're done.
The weight will fall off rapidly, but and we'll get to that. Um, we'll get to that because I want to talk about who actually needs this and what needs to be, who actually needs peptides, and what should be done before considering taking peptides, even the ones that have clinical studies, HGH, insulin, um,
Anything. And before
anything.
you even take any supplement at all,
Yeah,
like, at least get tested, get your blood work done.
yeah, even
Do you need D3? Do you know? Do you know that for sure? You
protein
know?
powder, like all the basic stuff we can back out the entire way. But yeah, so I want to touch on GLPs, the source of the craze right now that's taking over this. I can't. We talked about people I know taking peptides. there's more people I know taking GLPs. Everybody's taking GLPs. I have a little experience with taking GLP two in help with bodybuilding competition just to curb some of the appetite, and it works. It works as good as it's marketed.
It's a tool. Use it as a tool.
It's a tool. Yeah, it's so the three GLPs. There's GLP ones, which the most popular name I think is semaglutide, which is a single agonist, if I'm not mistaken.
Just the GLP
Uh,
one.
yeah, GLP-2 is a dual agonist. The
That's
most common one.
GLP-1 and GIP, tirzepatide or Mounjaro, depending
Yeah,
on what it's prescribed for. Them are the two names. So if it's for weight loss, it's I don't know which one. One, and if it's for diabetes, it's the other. I think because it's got two different approvals.
the GLP-2 is the big one is tirzepatide.
Yeah. And now the newest
And
one is the
yes, which I really want
GLP-3.
to talk about the GLP-3. So what are the issues with the GLP-3, which is called what?
Well, retatrutide is the name that is the street name.
Yeah.
We don't know what the pharmacy name is going to be yet because it's not approved yet. It's in stage 3 trials right now, and it is blowing everything else out of the water. And it's because of the glucagon element because it
Yes.
supercharges your liver into supercharging your metabolism basically. It will increase heart rate and other and it does have well, the Chinese version is having skin irritations and stuff and nobody really knows why. I did watch a couple dermatologists talking about it, and they're taking skin samples, and they're finding like cellular disruption in the skin where it's burning and numb and tingling, which is interesting. And I saw one guy talk about it, and that was it. I couldn't find anything else behind it. Well, it's rage first of all.
Yeah, it's the hype.
It'll allow you to eat more and not gain weight. Maybe it does curb your sensation a little bit. This the crazy part is retatrutide is not approved by any country or any FDA or anything like that. Yet millions of people around the world are taking it. This is like the largest unfunded um, gray market study ever.
It's massive.
Huge.
It's
Millions of people taking it.
Yeah, like I said, I think it rivals the whole peptide craze on its own, or at least the GLPs collectively.
For sure.
Even though the one GLP one and two are FDA approved, at least most of them are. But the retatrutide, I don't. It's better at doing its job, at least what we know so far, because
It's
it's a triple agonist, which makes sense, like you already articulated.
Well, the thing with the retatrutide that I know is it doesn't curb hunger as harshly as especially semaglutide, but tirzepatide as well. Um, so it allows you to eat. So it'll crank your metabolism up while you maintain. So it doesn't slow your digestion down as badly with the GIPs because it doesn't have as much in it. So if you look at the ratios, and there's a chart someplace I don't have it in front of me, the ratios are all different because there's like survodutide and mazdutide, and these are all being developed in other countries and they're all like in a competition. And then we can go into the amylin pathways too with cargrillatide or whatever you say that, and that's a whole other mechanism that's coming. Aloratide, that's the newest one. I don't know much about it, but that's supposed to be like a 16-day half-life on that, and that's just squashes hunger all the way around.
That's a half life that rivals most things on the market. Yeah, that's pretty impressively long.
But so, anyways, retatrutide. Back to that. I think a lot of these kids are taking it because it does allow you to still eat while supercharging your metabolism So for like bodybuilding, for instance, it's easy to restructure your physique because you can still eat
Restructure.
your protein. If you're regimented, you can still eat your protein and vegetables, let's say, because you're not super hungry, but you're hungry enough to eat, and you're still getting the back end of your glucagon being jacked up, so you're burning more calories. And now, the next thing people are doing too is they're taking impactoflows and because it dumps all the glucose out of your liver or out of your kidneys. I'm sorry. So it really equates to about 600 calories a day that you just pee out of your urine. So it's 600 calories free. That's a pound a week you're losing. That would be like doing cardio for an hour and a half.
Yeah, bodybuilders. Yeah. Well, I should say, I know I should back out. I'm not going to pick on just people don't like doing cardio. So people in general, maybe like there's like 5% of people like doing cardio. Even getting steps in is a challenge, which we'll get to. But yeah, I think the GLPs are something to keep an eye on, and we'll talk about the GLPs again, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, they're
But
not going away.
the big one I wanted to touch on was the retatrutide because it falls into this category of the unknown, which is in line with this peptide conversation as well. So circling back to the peptides, you made a short list. The one that I know is in clinical trials here is the BPC 157. That one's in clinical trials for people with gut disease. I know for example colitis, it is being researched by the FDA to help with the gut health. Now I'm not a gastroenterologist. I'm not that type of scientist, so I don't know exactly what that peptide or that specific chain of amino acids does for the gut health explicitly, but it allegedly, so far from rats and rodents, helps helps with some element of gut health. And it is mostly animal research. And if you look up lists of peptides, evidence level is mostly animal, mostly animal, mostly animal, mostly animal, mostly animal. Scour all over the internet.
So right on the front page of PubMed, uh, a narrative review of BPC 157 for musculoskeletal healing. Is it a regeneration or a risk? So that's what people are doing. They try to inject it in their elbow or shoulder or whatever they hurt, which I think is crap because it's going to go systematic anyways, and your body's going to repair what it needs to repair. But it is made in the gut, and I think that's why they're going back to the gut with it because I think it's only like 7 amino acids long or something like that, and it holds up to your stomach lining very well. And you will see oral versions of it on some of these websites too,
Yeah, and
which
that
is
may be one that we see FDA approved at some point. I know a lot of these peptides, the GHKCU, for example,
mhm.
a lot of I know firsthand a lot of women that are taking it for collagen, for skin health, for hair growth, for these again, this magic bullet for what I'm guessing most women have as two drawers in their bathroom of products that are supposed to help with this
Clown
shit.
paint.
Yeah, 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 and they're yeah.
There's some right there.
There you go. Yeah. Um, so again, is it? What are the consequences? I don't know. I'm sure there's some in the refrigerator sitting next to me too, but it's you're getting this advice from people at this point. Really, this circles back to science in general, and maybe this is my own bias as a scientist. Is you're getting advice from people that aren't scientists on a lot of these. Period. That's it.
Well, I would argue with that because for years and years and years, the scientists have been saying this or that, and bodybuilders have been saying, no, 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 this is how you do it. And there was a huge conflict forever. Steroids don't work. Testosterone doesn't work. It's not anabolic. It's said right in the doctor's or the physician's the big red physician's book that all the doctors have in their office up until 2016 or so that it did not promote muscle growth. Well, then everybody knew that was bullshit. You
I
know?
didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it said right in there that steroids do not work.
So
They're not anabolic.
bro science was ahead of the curve on that one.
Well, and a lot of times they are, because
Yeah.
these fucking wild men try all these crazy combos and come up with stuff.
Well, and that's just it with this list of shit we're talking about is there people are just willing to try it, right?
Yep. That and then some, and then some.
And their friends trying it, and their friends trying it, and they recommend it here and there, and then you escalate that to a worldwide surge that we're seeing. I mean, it happens with a lot of things, but right now with what we're talking about today as well. So there's various lists of a lot of these top 10 peptides, but the CJC 1295, the BBC 157, which we talked about, the IGF-1, the one I talked about, the GHKCU, and then which were the few that you mentioned that had fairly good results.
Well, melanotan 1 and 2, that's proven. I mean, you can buy nasal sprays and you will get tan. Like really tan if you start keep taking it. Your moles will be accentuated, aging spots. I don't. You might get a boner or a stomach ache off the deal. You might get some diarrhea if you take too much. If you inject it, for sure. Mod C is a big one. Everybody's talking about that. I hear a lot about GHK copper and how it's actually uh, like a gene regulator of sorts. I don't know a lot about it. I hear a bunch of people talking about it now, that it does a lot more than just like skin collagen and maybe hair color. Um, the jury's still out on that. I'm not sure. I mean, the big fear has always been copper toxicity, because
Oh, for sure.
zinc is the opposing mineral to copper. So they say that you should take zinc with it, but then other doctors that I've heard talk say that if you inject copper, you're skipping the gut biome, so you're not using all the zinc to mitigate it. I don't know. There's no studies on it, so who knows, right? Maybe some mice know someplace.
Yeah, I was gonna say the rats. They got it all figured out.
but
They're
but I see on your list you have CJC 1295 without DAC. Now DAC is added to CJC because the half life of this, I have not looked it up, but it's only like 20 minutes or half an hour or an hour or something. And with DAC, it's supposed to extend it to 24 hours or 36 hours or something. We could probably look all this up. I should have probably before I started talking about it, but it's been a while since I brushed up on a lot of this stuff.
Well, here's the thing: we're at the tip of the iceberg on like you said. There's thousands and thousands of these, so it's just impossible to keep up with. We're just trying
It is.
to give some clarity and provide some logic behind the thought process of taking them in general.
So one of the thought processes of taking DH secretagogues, which is your ipamorelin, tesamorelin, your CJC. We got any other ones on the list here? AOD even. Um, is that you will boost your body's growth hormone output, but not super physiological, like not more than your body can make or handle. That's the theory. I don't even think rats know about that one yet. So that's that's all theory. I think, my opinion, save your money on this stuff. If you can get real growth hormone, just skip to the chase and use what's bioidentical. Your body knows what to do with it.
Um, I wanted to talk about zooming way out here. What do people need to be doing before considering any of this stuff?
You
Anything.
got the fundamentals.
What are
You
the
got to
fundamentals? Because that's trust me, it's hard for a lot of people to do them if we're thinking of the same ones.
the the easiest one for everybody should be sleep. That should be like the base before you even eat. I mean, if you don't eat, eventually you're not going to sleep. But There's I've watched numerous interviews with Delta Force guys and stuff like that, and they're so tired and hungry that they'll fall asleep before they eat. So that means they're not really that hungry
It's
because
true.
sleep is more important to keep you alive than eating is at that point. And number of guys that are pushing the ultimate limit. So
Yeah, yeah.
I would say that's most important. With that, that's my argument for that. But you got to dial in your, you know, it's you look like what you eat. It's pretty easy to walk through the mall and you could tell what these people are eating. Just look at
You can.
if they're wearing tarps, they're probably not eating very good, and a lot of it.
If they're wearing a muumuu.
And I'm in central Wisconsin, so I see a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean it. Yeah, it's pretty obvious who's eating healthy and who's not. But even at this point, that line is getting blurred though because people are losing so much weight on the GLPs that they look like they're eating something healthy, but now we don't know. They could still be eating the same garbage. Their internal organs could be suffering. They're probably losing rapid amounts of muscle tissue in addition to fatty tissue because of their lack of diet or their poor diet. And then the third sort of head to this hydra is resistance training, maintaining muscle mass.
Yeah, I think for a GLP regimen, that's critical is to do some sort of resistance training, even if it's just body weight stuff. Sit ups, pull ups, push ups, body weight squats. I mean, that would go a long ways for a lot of these people um, to at least preserve.
Room bitches, I don't want to go to the gym. The gym scares
You
me.
don't
I
have
don't.
to.
You don't have to. Sit at home and do a push up.
You can kick your ass in 10 minutes every day. Go do
Yeah.
100 body weight squats right now. I bet your legs will be sore tomorrow. Mine would be. And I've done way more than that in my lifetime.
Yeah.
But
Keep moving. Do some sort of muscle stimulation, and I agree. The number one is sleep, and then also your food habits have to hopefully change too because they're just going to backfire if we ever stop taking these GLP peptides. You're just gonna you're gonna reverse right out of it and probably be more unhealthy than you were before you started taking it in the first place.
so I've coached a few people that have taken them. Not bodybuilding coach, but life coached. A couple guys at work and stuff like that. And I tell them now this is a tool that is going to help you choose what to eat and when to eat it. Because you're not going to be starving, ravished, that you're just going to want to eat everything that you see at first, or candy bars or whatever. You will actually have the ability to say no. And use that time, because it usually takes 3 weeks, good or bad, to form a habit. So let's try to start to shift right off the bat if you're going to do this. And no more sitting on the couch. Get out and go for a walk. Try to get your 10,000 steps. Every time you eat, go for a 10-minute walk. It's been shown to reduce your glycogen levels and your blood glucose levels and your A1C hugely if you just do a 10-minute walk after a meal. And that's not on rats, that's on humans.
Yeah,
So,
someone had me do that once in a contest prep.
and it worked really well, didn't it?
Yeah, it worked. It
How much
worked.
cardio did you do?
It was
Zero.
zero. Yeah, but I got my steps in. That's for sure. Um, but yeah, it's just basics, and I'll point out again, it's so hard for people to do the basics.
The majority of people probably need a GLP of sorts just because of our food source anymore. Everything's too calorically dense. Anything fast is, anyways. If you go to a grocery store, don't go down any aisles. Just go around the perimeter. That's all you need.
I
Try to do that for a month, and you will lose weight. You can eat as much as you want almost.
ask any bodybuilder in a competition prep and say what percentage of the grocery store can you actually eat right now, and it's like
25, 10.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like 5 to 10% of the whole store. The rest is just garbage. It really is. It's just garbage.
Other than the bakery, because that's usually on the perimeter, you walk in and it's normally your fruits and vegetables, right?
Produce.
And then you move on to the meat counter. Well, there might be a bakery depending on your layout, but then you're gonna have your meat counter and your dairy stuff, and then probably frozen vegetables on one side or something like that, depending on the total layout. But the majority of stores are set up like that.
But that's the thing is like that's and that's not what I really want to preach here is like don't eat anything good.
No.
It just comes down to moderation. Moderation is the lack of moderation is the reason why a lot of people are taking GLPs.
Yes. And is it all their fault? No. All this food's been engineered to taste really nummy and be calorically dense and filling and satiating, and you're going to want more. So then you eat more, and then they make more money, and that's
Yeah, and I'm not pointing my finger at the people as individuals. I know it's a byproduct of the broken American system and the food system here, but at the end of the day, it takes your hand to put it into your face.
well, that's what a GLP is going to help you do. Is your face isn't going to be as hungry. So now, if you're going to use them, you utilize that. Take the advantage that you have. You're not under control of the food anymore. So get out of the lane that you've been stuck in your whole life, or your mom and dad taught you, or your grandparents, or all of the above. Because I think this is generational now. This isn't just the people that are coming out now.
No, no, I agree. It is generational, and it's like you said the key word for all these peptides, for GLPs, for HGH is their tools. They're not solutions. They're tools. Period. It's up to you how to utilize the tools and to make decisions around these tools, or to abuse them, or to become addicted to them. I mean, there's plenty of things that can happen, but the people that are going to see the most benefits from them are the ones that use them as a constructive tool to help reprogram unhealthy habits in their life.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. That's the beginning and end. I think that this peptide stuff, somebody will try, let's say, a mod C, and let's say they have really good response from it. They have more energy. They feel better. They feel more recuperated. They're not as tired. They don't have brain fog. Whatever other things they say it will do. Well, now let's try some GHK. And man, I got a little chub, and it's midsummer, but maybe I can lose a little bit before. And let's try some of these secretagogues and lose some visceral fat because it's been proven. Well, now all of a sudden they're spending hundreds of dollars and they're trying to justify it, and they're telling everybody about it because they're spending hundreds of dollars and maybe they are getting some results. Probably because they're eating better, sleeping better, and maybe even working out because they're spending hundreds of dollars. They'll try one thing that really works really well, and then they're going to want to try more. No different than bodybuilders and steroids. They'll get on a little D-ball test, whatever their first cycle is, and they're hooked. They can't go back.
Yeah, that is what happens, and we'll have another episode about bodybuilding and PEDs for sure. But yeah, I agree. It's the same logic for sure. It's
Oh, and it's probably the same with any kind of supplements. It's just the way it is. So I think that's just how humans work. But everybody's looking for the fast road.
well, that's the denominator of what we're talking about is the quick, fast fix to anything. I mean, as a bodybuilder, I've looked for years for the right recipe for me to get bigger, leaner, stronger. And I'll be honest, and I think a lot of bodybuilders or fitness folks out there can attest to is it's an answer that you'll never find.
It's never going to be enough. What? That's what keeps you going back to the gym, though.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, I train my ass off 5 days a week currently, and I keep going back trying to find the magic bullet, and and I'll keep looking for it until my body's being donated to science. That's
I'm
what I'm.
still looking, still looking.
Yeah, yeah, and that's it's with people, and so like I said, we're not raining on the parade of people and
We're,
this.
we're we're in the storm with you, just so you
Yeah,
know.
we're in the
We're right
storm.
in the middle of the storm, and we're just we're just talking about this stuff matter of factly. That even though we try this stuff, or have tried it, or thought about trying it, there's really no evidence behind a lot of it.
No, there isn't, and I think a lot of there isn't evidence. I think that leads to an issue with a lot of people taking it is they're focused on one thing, and that's I need to lose weight. Period.
And why is that? Well, the supersized McDonald's ain't working out so good, is it? Well, I know guys at work that one guy brought in, he had three 2 liter bottles of Mountain Dew the other day. I'm like, what? You thirsty? What are you doing? He goes, well, these are on sale for $1.99, and the little bottles were like $3.29. So I figured this is a better deal.
It's cheaper than this.
I know, I know, but three 2 liters of Mountain Dew. I'll bet you he drank them all too.
That's a good insulin spike. He should go hit the gym after one of those.
Guaranteed he didn't. He
Yeah,
not after working 12 hours
yeah, probably not.
in the heat, you know.
Yeah, and that again, it circles the same concern as the lack of awareness of being able to have a holistic change in your routine. And maybe not even holistic, just twist some of the dials on your circuit board to improve your life with these tools, right?
Yeah, you got to. If you want to change, you have to change. No way around it. If you want to be freaky, you got to do freaky shit. That's been I was saying of mine for a long time. If you want to change, you got to change. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. That's the definition of idiot, right?
Idiot and insanity. Yeah.
The reason we're raving about this is because we've been stuck in the cycle as well. Not always, and maybe not right now, but it's we're witnessing it again firsthand. This back in the day before a lot of people listening to this even probably there was a thing called cybergenics, and it was like it was probably the late '80s, and it was like $300 for this box that you got with a really thick book and a meal plan book and like 10 bottles of vitamins or whatever they were, and you had to take all these vitamins at certain times and whatever. And the whole premise of the whole thing was you had to do high intensity workouts and eat the specific diet that was low carb, moderate fat, high protein. And anybody that followed that whole program had great results. I wonder why. Not because they spent $300 in the '80s on this. It's like $1,000 now probably for a 30-day supply. So,
You know,
anyways, this is
why'd they change, right?
right because they changed their whole everything, not just because they're taking cybergenics. I don't know. 6 months ago, I probably had a different opinion, but it seems like the market has really changed in the last 6 months, and there's so many scammers out there now, and a lot of these peptides, I read way too much about it just because I'm fascinated by what's happening, and there's a lot of fakes. There's a lot of no peptides at all in them. And there's a lot of, well, now there's just been one instance that I've seen of fentanyl being turning up in a 5 amino 1 MQ premix vial. So that's very concerning if that's getting tainted with fentanyl. So and that's a big reason on the Chinese crackdown too is the fentanyl is being mass produced there and shipped around the world. So they're trying to curb some of that, and growth hormone get caught in the mix, and the GLPs are looking like they might get caught in the mix, especially when retatrutide gets, all of its data done. Then you might see a big shift in the market because then the money's on the line for real. It's not just gray market anymore. So, I don't advice: be extra diligent on third party testing. There's actually there's fake lab reports coming out all over the place too. So you can't just go by one lab or one test, or the problem is most of these things come from China. They're not labeled at all. So you go by cap color. Well, that's not scientific. There's no nothing there. It's just a cap that's blue.
What is the blue? I was gonna say, what's the blue cap mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
I see a lot of blue caps. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, do you buy your peptides and then send them to have them tested? Well, that's costly. That's $300 a pop for Janishik. Or I'm sure there's some American companies that can do peptides, but any of the illegal substances, growth hormone or any kind of steroids, you're not going to do that domestically because they're just not going to test it. They can't legally.
So really, the fundamental message is be careful, but there's really no way to be careful. You're just taking a risk.
I guess if you get it from compounded pharmacies or some testosterone clinics, they're all selling peptides.
Yeah, it's true.
Are you? But I think that they're probably getting them from the same places. I don't know for sure.
Or
I
they're
don't know how
not
tested. Well, I don't know how tested they are. I don't think any of them are being made in the States. Or not very many.
I don't know if what is or what isn't. I mean, and it's at the point still where it can be a label can be slapped on it that says whatever.
Yeah.
And there's no regulation on a lot of them.
Same with the supplement market. I watch a lot of these. There's a lot of YouTube channels that are testing supplements, and you'd be surprised at how underdosed or non-dosed at all some of these supplements are. And they're the premium brands normally. Like I've always disliked Now Nutrition for no particular reason, but they seem to be testing the highest out of all of them.
I was just gonna bring up Now Nutrition. Yeah. There's I've seen similar testing that theirs are through the roof in terms of quality. Well, not through the roof, but they're high quality typically.
High quality, and what they say is on the label is at least on the label, if not a little overdosed normal.
Yeah, the same ones you can get from Walmart.
Yeah, or Amazon. Yeah, and they're normally the cheapest.
Well, that leads to what we're going to talk about next week, and that is going right into PEDs and supplements related to bodybuilding specifically, or fitness in general. Athletes. Let's say athletes. But if there's any thoughts or comments, please, we're not claiming to be experts here.
We're not expert. I'm not an expert on anything. I just do a lot of research.
Yeah, I might have a PhD, but I'm an absolute idiot, so that's fine. You can call me on my shit. So yeah, next week we'll talk about PEDs in the fitness industry, which is a good coattail to the peptide discussion. Be careful. As always, stay strong and question everything.